Welcome to the Speaker Showcase featuring distinguished Toastmaster Angela Barrus. I am Jonathan Lamb, District Growth and Support Director at Toastmasters International. It is my pleasure to moderate today's live Q&A session. During the session, to ask Angela a question, please click the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Type in your question and hit send. We'll do our best to get to as many questions as possible. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Angela Barrus. Angela is a behavioral therapist, transformation mindset coach, and clinical hypnotherapist. Angela helps people get unstuck. She is the foundation for her program is based on neuroscience and positive psychology. Over a decade, she has equipped clients and audiences with tried and true techniques to empower their lives, enhance their speaking and leadership abilities. Angela's education session titled ICU Leadership is available to watch on demand, and we're honored she is joining us live today. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Angela Barrus. Thank you, Angela. Hello there, Angela. Well, thank you for joining us today, Angela. We already have some questions, so if you don't mind, we're going to get started. To begin, where do you find your inspiration for your content?
Well, when I was a little girl, I was told, the greatest teacher of all, maybe in the top 10, let's say, was for me, Jesus, his parables and his heart at peace, and seeing the one as a person and that hope of highest potential. And whether you're a Christian or not, there's so much to learn from that style of being, that way of being with a heart of love. And then also for modern day material, I am in love with The Heart at Peace. This is written by committee by the Arbinger Institute. And when my clients mention tension or feeling like there's something not quite right in relationships at work, at home, at Toastmasters, wherever, where their hobby, their nonprofit focus, then we go to this material. And this is core to the coaching program that I do. And it influences ICU leadership hugely, and it influences my life. It gives me something to reach out to have that heart at peace. So that I highly recommend this book. I love it.
Thank you for that recommendation, Angela. Mm-hmm. Can you please give us an example you've seen of ICU leadership at work in a club?
Oh, yes. I belong to the Advanced Club Eastside Leaders, and we just recently exercised ICU leadership in a huge way. Can you imagine one club with 5 members who achieved their DTM award, their Distinguished Toastmaster credential, all at the same time within a month of each other? That just begs for us to be ICU leaders and really pay attention to that and honor them and basically throw a party. And of course we can throw parties over Zoom. So we all went all out. We decorated, there were balloons, there were streamers, there were crazy hats, there were really strange backgrounds, all in celebration of our 5 distinguished Toastmasters. And they were given time to share speeches about something about their journey of becoming distinguished Toastmasters. We told them we want to see your plaque, so they got to show off their plaques. And that meeting there was so much love and so much positive regard. There was a sense of absolute joy in that room. And that's what we can create at Toastmasters. And then I also belong to digital transformation, and members of that club, they joined a task force to help people all around the world with digital issues, figuring out how to use Zoom, how do you do a contest, how do you do melees, and it's superstars from digital transformation, among others as well. But they rose to the occasion and they sacrificed so much to serve the whole world. They saw that there was a need, and they stood up as ICU leaders. So I have great examples right around me in my clubs.
That's awesome. And the time now is more than ever for that digital transformation. So definitely. Yes. This is somewhat related. For leaders that struggle with connecting, what do you recommend?
I recommend that it's good to know ourselves and it's good to stretch ourselves. I hear a lot of people say, I'm an introvert. And that's awesome if you are relating to that in a way that helps you grow and helps you support not only yourself in a healthy way, but others, and not using that as an excuse. We don't use excuses. We take that and we turn that into a reason. I am an introvert, so therefore I'm going to become more comfortable with picking up the phone and calling that new member of my club and telling them how much I appreciate their speech. Now, we don't want to push ourselves maybe too far out of our comfort zone, but that's out of our comfort zone is where growth is. So, whatever limitations we have, Toastmasters is a place where we can really just reach out a little beyond our comfort zone, even maybe a lot beyond, and try and connect and support people the way that we, with our unique gifts, can support them. We don't have to be an extrovert. We don't have to be a rah, rah, ooh, we're so glad you're here. Not everyone likes that or appreciates that. Each one of us belongs in our club. Each one of our personalities and our way of supporting people is very much needed and appreciated by different people. We all need we need such a mix of personalities to really reach the needs of each person in the club. So it's use your unique gifts and maybe push yourself a little beyond where you might be holding yourself back, because that's where it gets exciting.
Thank you. And I think this question might lead it might be related. How can we practice ICU leadership for members at large when there's a conflict between leaders?
That is a really, really good question. And I I believe that having a common ground, we have a common ground. We all want to be better speakers and better leaders. What else do we have in common? We come from all walks of life with all different interests and talents and gifts. So I believe that it's important for club officers and a club, maybe even in general, to have a common ground. So I would advise reading this book, but something that would actually match even better. They have two more books, The Outward Mindset. I would recommend that a club invite each other to explore this material. And then if you wanted to dive in, learn more about the anatomy of peace. But if we have a core understanding of whether it's this material or something else that brings us together, where we have common language and a common goal, and hopefully where people are not coming from the box of, I'm smarter than you. That is a trap. I'm better than you. That's a trap. That's ego. And when our ego is in the way, when we're stuck in a box where we have this paradigm that is blinding us, then we are difficult to work with. And we're all in the box of a box of some kind that limits us at any given time. Is just that awareness of my heart isn't at peace. I'm pushing for something that people in my club aren't ready for, or I think I'm causing some tension, or I'm feeling some tension. We look in the mirror, we ask, what am I doing to create this? Because we are always contributing in some way. And then coming back to our heart at peace, realizing I'm not smarter than you, I'm not better than you, I'm not less than you. And when we come to that heart of peace and we put ourselves in the shoes of other people, really expanding our ability to have compassion, now let's talk about our onboarding process for guests. Let's talk about how we want to celebrate people's successes. Let's talk about our open house. And now we're in this common playing field. And now, because we've gone through the work of having our heart at peace, getting ourselves out of the box, over and over and over again, putting our egos on hold, now we can focus on the guest and they can totally feel it. And the new member, they can feel it. A new member can tell. They can tell if there's tension, and that can be one of the contributing factors of them disappearing. And they may not even know that's the reason. So, us having a heart at peace and really being out of those boxes that can confine us and cause tension in those relationships, that's the core way of being to strive for. So, we can't change the other person, we can only change ourselves, and we all know that. And that's a truth that sometimes I think stinks, but it's true. I can only change myself. So, that's my response to that question.
Thank you. That's great, Angela. For those that are new being leaders and building their confidence, how can they benefit from being a Toastmasters?
What was the last part of that question?
How can they benefit? How can we benefit from being a Toastmaster?
Oh, this is the laboratory. This is where we get to play. This is where we get to try things out. So if you're not a person who normally reaches out to one person, if you are normally someone who you show up, you're part of the group, you do your job, but you don't ever find yourself really reaching out to one person, that's where the gold is. That's where the treasures are. Developing those relationships one person at a time. And now that benefits us because we have more friends, we have deeper relationships. We start to understand if we want to be the best leader and benefit the most from our leadership experience at Toastmasters, figure out the right questions to ask. When you know questions, life-giving questions to ask, people respond. They love it. There's a drought of people everywhere for being asked life-giving questions that now create this synergy. And that's where, as a leader, you can learn and you now have something to go with, because if you ask somebody, you've been a member of our club for a whole month, you're the best expert on sharing your observations about what we're doing well and how we could improve. Would you mind sharing with me? Now you're exercising your leadership skills, you're getting some feedback, you're able to share it with the team with, of course, that permission or anonymously. And now we're able to meet the needs of the guests and the new members even better, and our veteran members. One of my mentors from years ago, this is what he would say: y'all aren't asking the right questions. And so if you exercise the art of figuring out the right questions, and you'll know when you've nailed it, you can now take that art out into the world with your family, with your job, with your nonprofit organization. When you start learning how to ask the right questions, you develop your leadership skills, and Toastmasters is a great place to practice that, and you'll benefit exponentially. There will be more people at your funeral there. I don't know if you've ever thought of that, but that's one way of looking at it.
Thank you for putting that into perspective, Angela. With meetings now being online, what are
Mhm.
some ways that we can practice the ICU leadership?
Well, something that I'm trying out, I I'm new at being a VPM, a Vice President of Membership. This is totally new for me. So I had to ask myself the question, what would I have appreciated? How would I have appreciated my very first experience with Toastmasters? And what I would have appreciated is this, and I'm just trying it out and I might tweak it as I go. When I hear a member somebody's interested in attending a club meeting, I let them know how pleased we are to see them, to meet them, and I give them the information they need, but I'm making it about them. I'm not sending them a documentary about my club. This is dating. I'm not proposing before they've even attended the club. This is a date. They're dating the club. And we don't want to come on too strong because we can scare people away. Have I scared people away? At times, I think in the past, I think I might have, giving them too much information. We're just asking them to go for a walk. And so then I ask them if they would be willing to set a 10 to 15-minute phone conversation, if they're open to that, so that I can learn their observations from the meeting, answer any questions they have, and most importantly, find out what their speaking and leadership goals are, so that we can know how to best support them, whether they join or not. And so in that conversation, I have a notebook and I ask those questions. We get to their goals. And I'm writing like crazy. And this is what I do in consultations with clients. I'm writing as many words as I possibly can. I say, that sounds like a great goal. I'll read it back to you. And then they say, oh, well, add this and oh, change that. And then I say, okay, what's another goal? And write it down. And all right, what's another goal? And then I tell them I'm always blown away by their goals. These are great. Now I know what big project they're working towards. I know that they want to have to be promoted at work. I know what kind of work they do. A lot comes out in this. And then I say, would you like me to type this up and email it to you? And they always say, wow, yes. And then almost 100% of the time, if not, I think it's 100% of the time, I'm doing this for my advanced club. These are members of Toastmasters, and each one of them have told me so far, Angela, I've never been asked to share my goals with anybody before at Toastmasters.
I think that kind of touched on the next question that I had, but I'm going to read you the question anyway to see if there's any more you want to elaborate on, Angela.
Okay.
The question is, my club has guests who don't join and members who don't stay. What other advice do you have to get the
Yeah.
guest to join or the member to stay?
This is the phone. Remember the phone. I've heard that there is a famous football team, this coach at the beginning of every season, it would begin with him picking up a football and he'd say, we're starting at the beginning. This is a football. And at Toastmasters, the football is the phone. We've overextended our use of email. Email's great to support relationships. This is all about relationships. Email is a very nice clerical device to develop relationships, which is what helps people see that, wow, I think these people actually are interested in me. I think that these people want me to see me grow. When you ask your officers, please pull up your phone contacts and tell us how many contacts do you have saved in your phone of the guests and new members, veteran members, how many members of our club do you have saved in your phone? And you may find that it's stellar and that officers especially are so interested in their members that they've taken a moment and saved their information so that they can text them and say, that really was an awesome speech. Or, hey, I thought of something else for your speech. It's too much to text. Can we talk sometime? And now we're having conversations. If you think about it, when we were meeting in person, we'd pull up, we'd get out, we'd walk in with other Toastmasters, we'd be talk, 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 talk. We'd introduce a guest to a member and say, this is so-and-so, you guys have something in common. We would maybe have a break, or we'd meet around the food or the water fountain, and then we'd help clean up and we'd walk out. Lots of conversations. So in our club, we recognized we can't just start and end. That was feeling so cold, and that is not club growth oriented. So now we start 15 minutes early. We call it gathering time or connecting time. And somebody is the hostess. I'm the hostess and I'm welcoming people. Oh, we're so happy to see you. Oh, Becky, I heard about something great. Could you tell us? Let's do show and tell. So you find someone in your club who is a good host or hostess of the living room of your club. Have conversation. Your guests have been invited to join early, and they're seeing, wow, these people really like each other. And oh, they're telling me hello, and I get to say hi. And now at the end, we say, and now the meeting is over. And if you would like, you can linger. And if you're ready to go, bye. So we've added 15 minutes at the front end, and now that's our gathering time. And now our guests are becoming members almost every time. It's made a huge difference. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think in today's environment with, the number of meetings that we're on via Zoom or any other in the platform, we need that extra time to connect outside of the agenda items.
Yes.
Yeah. So going into lingering around after a while in a meeting, how does that support ICU leadership?
That is when we're able to really get to know our guest if they're open to that. And I do hear a question. Let's come back to questions. Think about, what is the question that your guests are being asked at the end of the meeting? What is that question? When I was new to Toastmasters, I kept hearing this question. We're so happy you joined us today. Can you please tell us what you like best about this meeting? And I thought, oh dear. But then I heard it again and again and again, or it would be a variation of that. Tell us what you like best about our club. And after 3 years of being in Toastmasters, I finally started saying something just like, hey guys, I think we're asking the wrong question. Well, how about if we just try something new? Let's say, how about if we experiment? Because that's what we do at Toastmasters. How about if we ask guests, we're so happy you're here. Could you please share one of your speaking or leadership goals with us so that we know how to support you best? Now the guest is talking about themselves and they're not talking about our club. And so now, when the meeting is over, we know a little bit about the guest, and it's this natural segue into, that sounds really cool that you get to be an MC at your son's wedding. When is that? We can help you. We're so excited for you. And then someone says, hey, I've MC'd a wedding and I have some tips for you. Could I get your number? Now we are creating relationships. There you go. All comes back to questions.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know we have a lot of great questions still. Try to get through as many as we can, obviously. Um, I do want to go back to something a little bit more personal with you, Angela. How did you come about this insightful leadership style?
I'm a parent of 4 children, and I'd like to tell you that I am an amazing mother. When we do the best we can, even the best we can as a parent, sometimes as they get older, there can be extra tension, extra struggles. And I could see that something needed to change with one of my children in particular. And as a parent, you want the best for your children. You want them to succeed. You want them to be happy. You want them to love life. And my husband and I could tell that there was a disconnect, and it wasn't, well, our efforts weren't working. He didn't feel supported by us the way he needed to be supported. And eventually, he's the one later in life who introduced us to the anatomy of peace. He started working at a place for troubled youth, and all the parents and even the students are told, we need you to read this book. And in between that part, I had learned a lot about having a heart at peace and about trying to support a person the way they need to be supported, not the way that I feel they need to be supported. And there's a huge difference in that. So for me, this has all come about because I love my children And I want the best for them. And as a coach, everything I learn in life, all it comes to the coaching table. And so then I'm even more dedicated to learning how to communicate this and how to ask those questions to help people change their paradigm so that they're getting out of the boxes and reaching their higher potential. So it's both personal, very personal, and now bringing it to the coaching table and the speaking world. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Angela.
Yeah.
What activities will you be doing at your ICU workshop, and when is it again?
Oh, we're doing this workshop. It's Thursday, September 10th, 5 to 6:30 Greenwich time, 10 to 11:30 Pacific time. And this is an interactive conversation. This is workshop. This isn't me. I'm not going to be talking for an hour and a half, I promise you. My goal is to facilitate an experience, and my goal is to speak maybe 10% of the time. It is best if you could please view the ICU leadership speech because it's all based on those principles. And Linda Vorthman, who is a superstar angel for Toastmasters at large, is helping me. We're going to go into breakout rooms. We might be doing one-on-one interviews with each other. We're bringing things back to the big room, and we're sharing. I want to learn from you. I've shared you my thoughts with you about ICU leadership. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your wonderful examples and your thoughts on how I can be a better ICU leader. So it's all about learning from each other with our friends from all around the world. So I hope you can join us. Yeah, it'll be
Awesome.
good. Fun.
Besides the workshop, Angela, if I wanted to learn more about ICU leadership, is there other ways to do so in learning more about the style?
Yes, I'm going to be building a page on my website. So maybe link up with me with LinkedIn. And I am kind of new to that venue, at least new to using it, but I will be posting there. Another way to get a hold of me and reach out and actually benefit from some of the efforts that we're making here in District 2 is look up on Facebook Professional Speaker Master Series, District 2, and follow that page, and you will see events that we're bringing to you from amazing speakers. Our last speaker was Greg Van Borsen, and if you haven't heard him speak or learned from him, he's amazing. And we're bringing really high quality content for anyone, whether you are a professional speaker or not. And everything I do has this ICU leadership laced through it. It's a theme of everything that I do. So I hope you join us. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, Angela, we have about a minute left now.
Okay.
I want to give you the opportunity. If there's anything else you want to share, maybe elaborate on a question, or is there anything else you want to share with our audience today?
Sure. I really enjoyed that people participate in the chat box. That was so fun when it was up. I was able to read some really heartfelt comments. And one person said, "This sounds like hard work." And I really appreciate that comment because I can see that. And I don't want that anyone to think that it is hard work. It's not hard work. We may need to make some adjustments as I constantly have to myself. It's actually very comfortable work that you do in a way that is acceptable to you. You do this flavored by your personality. You don't have to become someone else. This is more about you remembering who you really are and who you're meant to be. This is just more of an unveiling of your brilliance and getting out of your own way so that your ego is on a shelf and you're coming through as your true, genuine, authentic self. That's not hard work. It just takes intention.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you for your time today, and thank you to everyone attending the Speaker Showcase. If you have not already, make sure to watch Angela Barrus's education session, ICU Leadership. Once again, thank you so much for participating in a live Q&A with our audience. Thank you so much,
Thank
Angela.
you. Thank you, friends. Thank you for being
Appreciate your time.
here. Thank you, Jonathan.